Why did you kick my granddaughter out in the heavy rain? You devil. An angry email sent by my mother-in-law, Karen. She is always so strict with me and sends me sarcastic messages about anything. But this time I was confused. What is this all about? Because my daughter is in her room right now. And there is no reason for me to kick her out in the heavy rain. Something is wrong. I realized this, so I took it upon myself to call out to the person in front of me. Could you take a look at this email? From this point on, the truth of the matter began to emerge. I am Allie, 37 years old. I live with my husband, Luke, who is the same age as me, and our 14-year-old daughter, Chloe. My in-laws live nearby, but my sister-in-law, Hannah, is married and has left her house to live in the next county. Hannah is a gorgeous, beautiful woman. She is the youngest among the cousins and has been an idol among the relatives since she was little. She was always smiling at me, too. We lived within easy reach of each other, and we were both women close in age, so we would sometimes see each other. It was not a burden for me to take the train to see her. In fact, I even enjoyed it, but going to my parents-in-law's house in the neighborhood was always depressing for me. I probably wasn't welcome at Karen's, although I went with Luke to see my in-laws about once a month to show Chloe's face. Even though we had been married for over 10 years, Karen was always somewhat distant and unwilling to open up. At first I thought she might be the shy type, but then she started nagging me about housework and childcare, and I realized that she must not like me for this. Her job is housekeeping. In other words, she is a professional, so I figured that she must see things that are not up to par when it comes to housework, and I tried not to care as much as possible. That is the only way to deal with it. It was hard for me to talk to Luke about it because what she said was so right that it could be taken as mere advice. For the first few years of our marriage, I actively helped my in-laws with household chores, but then I was ordered to redo the cooking and cleaning many times. Allie, are you like this at home? Cooking that I thought I was good at was said to be over-seasoned, and rooms that were supposed to be clean were condemned to the slightest trace of dust. Especially when Chloe was a baby, I was made to make homemade baby food under Karen's guidance, and the procedure and seasoning were checked in detail. This is for you and Chloe. You're going to practice at my house and learn the ropes of housekeeping. She had the best of intentions, but when she said it with a cold, stiff expression on her face, I couldn't take her at her word. All she seemed to want to do was to tell me off. Even so, she still loved her grandchild, Chloe, so I thought I would endure it as long as I could. However, one day Hannah asked me, "Hey, are things going well with my mother? Do you have any problems?" Of course, there was no way I could tell anyone else what I couldn't even talk to Luke about. So in the beginning, I faked it and said it was fine. Hannah, however, was not. "Are you sure you don't mind here? You can tell me anything you want," she persistently repeated. I began to wonder if she was on to something. I thought to myself, if that's the case, it would be more worrisome if I don't tell her. I changed my mind and boldly confided in her about what I had done with Karen. I knew it. "What do you mean?" "To tell you the truth, my mother may look calm, but she has an insidious streak. And she hated it when you took Luke, her eldest son. That's why I'm worried about you." I felt depressed because I was convinced that Karen did not like me after all. However, Hannah's presence is a great source of emotional support, as she told me that I could always talk to her if I ever needed anything. I will try to listen to it as much as possible and do my best in my own way. I was encouraged by my sister-in-law, and that is what I thought. However, as if to discourage my determination, Karen began to attack me more and more from this point on. Her comments about childcare and housework began to arrive in the form of emails as well. Good morning. You didn't get up later than Luke, did you? Wife gets up before anyone else and does the housework. I heard you bought beef the other day. Are you aware that you are a housewife who is in charge of the family finances? Do you always buy things on sale? You're making Luke look like a worthless person, so don't be like that. The emails are full of outdated sarcasm and points that contradict what was sent before. I was very stressed out about the emails, which were worse than the ones I had received in person. Then one day, Karen, who had gone to see Hannah, asked me at my house in the heavy rain to give me a gift. Maybe she didn't hate me as much as I thought she did, coming all the way out here in such bad weather. I hoped that maybe this was where we could repair things. May I open it? Yes, of course. I picked this out for you. But when I opened the package and saw that it was a buckwheat pastry, I froze. It is true that this is a famous confectionery of the area where Hannah lives, so it is not strange for her to bring it back as a souvenir. But I am allergic to buckwheat. It's a serious, life-threatening allergy. I had mentioned this at our pre-marriage meeting, so everyone in my in-laws, including Karen, knew about it. If I had only told her at that time, she might have thought I had just forgotten about it. But since she was the one who told me a few years ago, when I was the only one who could not eat buckwheat, about buckwheat that was not made with buckwheat flour, that possibility was not possible. And yet, when she saw my drawn face, she sighed as if to chastise us. Okay. If you don't like it that much, you don't have to eat it. Huh? No, that's not what I meant. I opened my mouth to try to explain myself to her coldly, but the words didn't come out right away. She left me there and started to get ready to leave. She brought me something that no one else could eat, saying that she had chosen it for me. I guess she thought she was pressuring me to eat it. I knew it was impossible for me to compromise with her. At that moment, I heard the sound of a text message being received from my cell phone, which I had left on the table. I looked at the screen of my cell phone and tilted my head to see that it was the usual text from Karen. The content of the message was also somewhat strange. Why did you kick Chloe out in the heavy rain? You evil. Why would Karen bother sending me an email when she was right in front of me right now? And since Chloe was at home, I was even more confused. In the past, I would have swallowed it without saying anything, thinking it was a positive thing, even if there was something a little strange. But if she hates me enough to bring me a souvenir like this, there is no point in even trying. I decided to face her head-on and stopped her with a loud wait. I stopped Karen. What do you mean by this email I just received? Mail? What is this? Is Chloe outside? What? No, she's in her room. What? Don't startle me. I was puzzled by Karen's reaction, as if she had just learned about this text for the first time. This email, you didn't send it, did you? What? Of course not. I'm not very good at texting. It was true that whenever she had something important to tell me, it was always by phone. The only time I would get an email was when she was being sarcastic. That's why I was extraordinarily uncomfortable with it. And if you ask me, even though she had just sent me a text message, There was no indication that she had touched her phone until then. I was stunned, clutching my phone. It didn't look like she was lying, and I was puzzled as to what the hell was going on. Oh, it says Karen as the sender. You must have thought it was from me because of this. Yes. Oh my God. This is the reason you don't like me? Now it was my turn to be surprised by her words. What? I thought you hated me, not me? No, I don't. I've been trying to get along with you, but I think you already hate me, so I've been trying to at least teach you some housekeeping tips, and that's about all I can do. The reason she had been distant for so long was not because she didn't think well of me, but because of this misunderstanding. Her nagging about this, and that was also completely in good faith. But I still couldn't understand why she bought me buckwheat snacks. But what on earth was that souvenir you brought me earlier? Huh? I bought the sweets you said you liked before. I felt uncomfortable with her reaction. I told her that the gift was a buckwheat pastry. What? That can't be true. I know you have a very serious allergy. Her panic didn't seem very much like an act. When I opened the package, it was hidden from her by the wrapping paper, and she probably didn't realize that the contents had been switched. How did this happen? Knowing that there had been many misunderstandings, we tried to confirm this and that about the souvenirs and the mail. As a result, we discovered that all of this had been orchestrated by an unexpected person. So, she and I informed a few people about this in the form of consultation. In addition, I wrote in the email that had just been sent to me. I'm with Karen right now. Who are you? I replied. Immediately after that, I received a phone call from someone. I pressed the answer button. I want to talk to you directly about the matter we discussed. Can you come over to my house now? The person on the other end of the line said she was on her way and ended the call in a hurry. 2 hours later, the person who stepped into our home looked upset when she saw that Karen was also there. Why is she still with you here? You said you wanted to talk to me about it, and I thought my mother would have left by the time I got here. Yes, it was Hannah who flew to our house. Oh my, I didn't say on the phone that Karen was here. How did you know? My sister-in-law gave me a look of consternation when I pointed this out. It was you, Hannah, who sent this email and who received my reply to it, wasn't it? So you knew. My sister-in-law's eyes swam as I talked to her while showing her the email that I had sent to her. I just misspoke. I don't know of any such email. Oh, that's weird. Chloe told me that you gave her a special discount coupon to go to a movie today, and it makes sense with the contents of this email. Yes. My sister-in-law had made such a subterfuge to get my daughter to go out. Unfortunately, it was raining heavily that day. Chloe didn't feel like going to the movies, so she stayed in her room. Unaware of this, Hannah thought that her daughter had gone to the movie theater as instructed, and sent such a preposterous email. I don't know. Chloe must have misunderstood something. Yes, she's only trying to play dumb. But that's not all. Check with Karen. We also found out that this was not Karen's email address. The name of the address that came to my phone was Karen's full name, so I assumed that Karen had sent it. However, I found out that it was not, and upon closer examination of the sender, I discovered that it was Hannah's address. So all the sarcastic emails I had received under Karen's name were sent by Hannah. And the buckwheat snacks that had been swapped out for the souvenirs Karen had bought were exactly the same bag and wrapper. only she could have done that. When Karen bought the gift for me, Hannah was with her. So she knew exactly what size buckwheat pastry to buy and where to buy it in order to match the exact same appearance. On the other hand, no one but Hannah could have pulled off such a feat. With all this circumstantial evidence, it was hard to come up with a good excuse. She bit her lip in frustration. "Why did you do this? I trusted you," I muttered to myself, and Hannah glared at me with the most hateful look I had ever seen in her eyes. I was an eyesore. All my relatives loved me, and then suddenly they started pampering you when you came to marry Luke. You're not even that pretty, and it disgusts me. So, right after I married Luke, you started shadowing me and telling lies about how much I hated Karen? This is what Karen told me. Yes, I did. I wanted to push you over the edge mentally. I wanted you to get a divorce and get the hell out of my life. The fact that she asked me if I had any problems was not out of concern for me, but rather to see if the lies she had told Karen were having any effect. And at that time, when he found out that I was having trouble with Karen's interrupting me, she probably thought that if he took advantage of this, I would eventually uproot myself and get a divorce. I hated it when my mother-in-law told me not to do the housework. Why don't you want to get a divorce when my mother is giving you so much crap about it? I can't believe it. Hannah yelled at me, her face turning red as she spit all over the place. I wondered why I had ever trusted such a person, and I felt ashamed of my own lack of discernment. I've had to change my tactics because of your stubbornness and use my allergies to harass me, use the children, and do other troublesome things. You are such a pain in the ass. Hannah, no longer willing to pretend, blamed me for her malicious behavior, as if it was my fault. Then suddenly, enough is enough. Karen shouted at her. I had asked her to talk to me first, and she had obeyed and kept quiet, but she couldn't take it anymore and scolded Hannah loudly. I had never heard her yell like this before, even though I was usually told this and that. Karen seemed to be the type of person who gets scary when she gets angry, and the way she looked at Hannah was very powerful. As her own daughter, Hannah must have been well aware of the horror of such a situation. She shuddered aloud. I hear you and your husband aren't getting along, but that's only because you're being selfish like that. Because he loves me, he will forgive me. It's not enough to spoil your husband, it's natural that he will fall out of love with you if he is not comfortable with your feelings. I have taught you that, so why didn't you learn it? Hannah was flabbergasted by Karen's flamboyant attitude. You don't seem to be able to reflect on your past, so you don't have to come back to our house again. You'll have to live on your own after the divorce. That's terrible. I mean, my father and Luke won't let you do that. Hannah desperately tried to argue, but it was pointless. We had already informed my father-in-law and husband of everything she had done, and they had already agreed to cut her off from them. Of course, I told Hannah's husband the whole story, showing him the email screens of the evidence. As a matter of fact, I found out at that time that although she was a housewife, she hardly did any housework and her husband was thinking of divorcing her because of her selfish words and actions. He finally decided to divorce her when he was informed of this incident. He was waiting at home with the intention of giving her a divorce when she came home. That's why neither Luke, your father, nor your husband are going to help us. You're lying, aren't you? No way. I would never divorce him. I'm sorry, but this is what you deserve for what you did. No. Please ally, intercede with everyone. I'm sorry for everything I've done. She must have been in a terrible fix to hang on to me, but I felt no sympathy for her. I don't owe you anything. You tried to make me eat something I was allergic to. That could have been irreversible. There was no way I could forgive Hannah for such a disregard for human life. It's not just that. I can't forgive you for meddling in Chloe's life this time. If I don't let it go, you might get even more involved in my daughter's life in the future. When I told her in a strong tone of voice, she fell silent and slumped down on the ground. After that, her husband divorced her and her in-laws also cut her off, leaving her penniless. She had access to the family's money and wasted it all, and the entire amount was deducted from the property division and she ended up receiving nothing. In addition, she used up all her savings to pay the $20,000 alimony demanded by her husband. Moreover, since she had been a housewife for so long, she could not find a job, and I heard that in order to earn money for her living expenses, she had gone out into the nightlife. Karen and I, on the other hand, are now very close because we have cleared up the misunderstanding between us. I feel happy every day to be able to watch Chloe grow up with not only Luke but also my in-laws. What did you think of this story? Please subscribe to our channel as well. See you in the next video.